Hello, and welcome to the Collapse Experiment. Well, we just had the Twitter docs release, part deux. Yes, after several days of not seeing anything from Elon or Matt Taibbi or what we knew to be Barry Weiss, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Nothing from her, which was very interesting. And it seems to be there's a story behind that. So last week, Elon has a bunch of files sent over to Matt Taibbi. Matt Taibbi does a very long string of tweets explaining what he discovered in the files. And there ended up being a lot of criticism about this. Did I just step in deer poop? And so a lot of people were complaining that none of this is stuff that we didn't already know. That was the main criticism. A lot of people were making this comment. Meanwhile, in the background, Barry receives the same documents. And she's supposed to do like her take on what was released. But she notices the name and the account where these documents are coming from. And yes, it is related to Twitter, somebody who works at Twitter. But she sees the name Baker. So then she contacts Twitter. Says, who's the guy that sent me these files from your company? And they're like, so-and-so Baker. Well, what's his first name? James. And immediately she, her bells are ringing, her red lights are flashing. She's like, holy shit, what the fuck is going on here? So, come to find out, this James Baker, who works for Twitter as a lawyer, as part of their legal team, is a former member of the FBI who worked with Twitter on suppressing the Hunter Biden laptop story. He was non-ceremoniously relieved from the FBI after several controversies with him, and then gets a job at Twitter in the private sector. Now, there is some speculation that possibly he was sent by the FBI to work in Twitter as like their inside guy. Technically not a member of the FBI, but hey, if his phone rings and he picks it up and it's Agent so-and-so, his job was pretty much to do what they asked. Hey, this account's rubbing us the wrong way. Can you get rid of this? Type situation. So, anyways, Barry contacts the appropriate people. Yesterday, Elon has James Baker removed from Twitter. Yes, he was fired, no longer around. Come to find out, he was scrubbing the files that Elon had ordered to be released to the press, the reporters that he specified. So we don't know what was missing. Some people are questioning if we will ever know, like if this guy had permanently gotten rid of these emails, files, whatever. But for the most part, it looks like, regardless of what was not given to Matt Taibbi and Barry Weiss, that they can be retrieved, and that there was a large dump of information, a large file collection, if you will, given to these reporters after Baker was relieved of his position. Yeah, it is really foggy here. kind of amazing. It's like 38 degrees and still have snow, but the temperature and the humidity is making it quite interesting around here. So, part 2, yeah, the second installment of the Twitter files, if you will. I really think they should have David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson do like a short skit where they're like trying to release the Twitter files. Yeah, I almost think James Baker might have been like the cigarette smoking man. See a couple photos of him, just put a cigarette in his hand. It kind of fits. Might be his thing. But yeah, that was what was released in the second drop. The only comment from Barry on Twitter was that it was a very interesting weekend. Matt Taibbi was the one who spilled the beans on getting rid of Baker. And so what do we know? Well, let's see here. The FBI, an agency that is given the task of protecting the nation, investigating interstate crimes, was infiltrating social media companies in order to suppress information for the purpose of helping a certain political party. Now, the interesting thing about that is we also learned from the first data dump that both political parties had the opportunity to contact Twitter and have certain tweets flagged, accounts suppressed, yada, yada, yada. However, in the data that was gone through, they couldn't find any examples of the Republican Party contacting Twitter saying, we want this removed. And they had several very, very large number of examples where the Democratic Party contacted Twitter and said, we want this bitch gone. Yeah, that was a common thing. It does state that both parties had this option, but I find it kind of funny that one party acknowledges is it the First Amendment? That first one? The whole freedom of speech thing? Yeah. It's weird. Democrats love to talk about protecting our democracy, but they seem to forget the piece of paper that installed a democracy, constitutional republic, to begin with. So, yeah, that's interesting. And besides, I will point this out. Just because both parties had the option of doing so, remember, only one took the opportunity on a vast scale to actually implement this shit. Because for the other party, perhaps in their minds, doing such a thing wasn't really an option. It's not an American thing. It's not an American idea. You don't call somebody up and say, I want this person removed from Twitter and stop talking about this story. We want to suppress this story. And one thing I haven't gotten any clarification on is the Hunter Biden laptop story. Is that hacked material or is it fake Russian propaganda? Because it can't be both. Can it? It can't be both. It's either Hunter Biden's laptop and it wasn't hacked because it was left at a repair shop to be fixed, and then crackhead couldn't figure out or remember like that he left it, or that it was even there, or forgot to come and pick it up. I don't know. Does that constitute as hacked material? No. He signed a waiver so that the guy could go into his laptop and fix whatever, I don't know, porn file he downloaded. Yeah. So that's not a thing. Russian disinformation. So you're telling me the Russians took Hunter Biden's laptop, put a bunch of fake videos of him banging prostitutes and underage girls on said device, then gave it to this guy, presenting themselves as Hunter Biden, and then leaving it there so that he could contact authorities or try to get in touch with Hunter Biden. Like, the second one is just way too far-fetched to even consider that to be. Who made up this story? Like, seriously, like, what were they smoking? Who put together this bullshit story of, like, it's Russian disinformation? Really? Because it's almost like the FBI or whoever came up with this bullshit has been watching way too much Disney Plus, because the plot line here just falls apart like anything that's on that channel. Doesn't make any sense. Like, why would they do that? That is horribly stupid. This is way more work than it needs to be. Why the fuck did she do that? What is going on here? That's what happens when I watch Disney Plus. That's why I don't watch Disney Plus or any of the new Star Wars garbage that's coming out. But I digress. That was the new Twitter dump. Eventually we're going to have a lot more coming out. I don't know if they're actually going to write stories or if everything is going to be released on Twitter as it already has been. Yeah, it's warmer, but still, not having gloves on, carrying a phone out, stuff still gets cold. So, yeah, we have more stuff that's going to be coming out, and have to thank the Quartering. I was watching his feed yesterday with Sydney. They were covering it, going over stuff, learning more about James Baker and all the garbage that he's involved in. How is it that these people, I've never understood this, and it's becoming a reoccurring theme on this channel. People failing up in the world. You suck at your job. You're horrible. You're a liar. You're a thieving, conniving piece of crap. We're going to promote you. Oh, we're going to send you to this job where you get paid more and have less responsibilities. Or more responsibilities. Which is really not what we want. But, hey, you did such a bang-up job over here. I do not understand this mentality. I am very, very familiar with it. Actually, I could probably do a whole nother video telling some of those stories. But, yeah. This is, apparently, if you want to move up in the FBI, you just have to take part in trying to destroy the country. At least that's what I'm seeing. That's what I've seen in other jobs that I've been in, where the person who's doing more harm to the company, the one who's definitely a legal liability risk, you're being promoted. We like you. Yeah. Meanwhile, the guy who's doing his job is completely forgotten, doesn't get a pay raise, yada, yada, yada. You can continue on with that whole thread. But yeah. And hey, if you're that guy, I know how you feel. I know I've been there. Definitely been there. Yeah, there's no reward in doing your job how you're supposed to do it or going above and beyond. There's definitely no reward with going above and beyond. But if you're James Baker and you repeatedly fuck up and do horribly stupid stuff, highly illegal stupid stuff, you will be rewarded. That's the American way. Keep on typing.